Hi, I'm Roberta Chevrette. I'm an assistant professor of communication studies and a women and gender studies faculty member at Middle Tennessee State University. I've long been involved with feminist work both in academia and in my own kind of personal life. As an undergraduate, I was an activist, singer, songwriter, and I studied women's and gender studies and anthropology. So I've long kind of been interested in women's oppression in everyday life and in my own life, and other kinds of oppression that relate to systems of gender and intersecting systems of identity, and how these are constructed through our communication and messages. I think people who fit or adhere to the dominant standards of beauty often have an easier time negotiating their lives because people respond positively to beauty. And it may not be a conscious thing, it may be an unconscious thing, but in that way, somebody who, looks like they just stepped off of a magazine is going to have people respond to them as likable. Research shows that we actually perceive attractive people as more credible. So, but I'm not sure that's the same as fulfillment necessarily. I think people who find themselves to be beautiful and not just in a self-proclaimed Instagram post about being their best self when really they're not feeling very confident, but people who find a comfort in their own bodies and skin, whatever that looks like, I think certainly can feel fulfilled by that. Yeah. So, if we're thinking sex differences about beauty, of course, there are certain things that are expected for women that are different than what's expected for men. A lot of women's beauty is defined around, femininity and delicacy. Still in many ways today, even though we have moved beyond that in a lot of ways. We've got all of the kind of ass-kicking women, Wonder Woman to Charlie's Angels, but a lot of that does still at the same time also reproduce standard conventional attractiveness. Men, of course, are valued for their muscles and things like that, whereas thinness for women considers to be such a pervasive message about beauty that people struggle with eating disorders. Even young girls at as young as 2 to 4 might feel unconfident about it. But in terms of breaking that down further within the sexes, people who have different gender expression, and I think different forms of gender expression are valued differently by different communities. So to be femme as a lesbian or bisexual woman is actually can make it harder to navigate that terrain of one's sexuality because the norm or preference might be for a more butch, recognizably lesbian person, whereas someone who's very femme might be looked at, if you go into a gay bar, as sort of like, oh, just, not really supposed to be there, or just trying something out.